Hello everyone, my name is Elspeth and you're watching the Planeswalker Pantheon. Today. We'll be opening up a set booster box of Strixhaven School of Mages. But hey, enough about that, alright? Let's get right into it. Now. Now, because set boosters, I still haven't quite gotten the hang of the contents of these, we'll just find out together, shall we? All I know is there are art cards which I do like to collect, and I have been collecting them, trying to get like 2 full sets, so that way we can, you know, I can make some really cool displays out of the cooler art cards that come out of this. So there's our beautiful box. We'll just tuck that under there, and let's just get started. And there's a little bit pull tag, which I do enjoy with my boxes. Alright, so we've got our cool art card there. We'll just be reading the rares and the archive cards. So first uncommon is Dina Soul Steeper. Second uncommon is Deadly Brew. Third uncommon is Brackish Trudge, and our rare is the Biblioplex. So it's a land that can tap to add colours. Pay 2 and tap, look at the top card of your library. If it's an instant or sorcery, you may reveal and put it into your hand. If you don't put that card into your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. Activate this if you have exactly 0 or 7 in hand. And we have our memory lapse is, our mystical archive card is a beautiful memory lapse. So 1 in the blue for an instant. Counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, put it on top of its owner's library instead of into the graveyard. We've got a foil Promising Dusk Mage and a spirit token. I don't think there were any, no, there was no commons in there. That's fine. Alright, that's 2 packs there. Next one. They don't need to see the art cards, I guess. Alright, so our next pack. We have Shadow Mage Laureate as our art card. Got a nice pretty foil island there. Most powerful land in Magic. Got a Reduced to Memory as one of our uncommons. First other of our other uncommons is Ardent Dust Speaker. Stone Binder's Familiar is our second uncommon. And our rare is Conspiracy Theorist. So for 1 and a red, you get a creature, human shaman. It's a 2/2. When it attacks, you may pay 1 and discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you may exile 1 of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it this turn. And our mythical archive card is Village Rite. So for a single blackie and instant, has an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, and draw 2 cards. And we've got a foil Mouldering Carrick. And a Elemental. I like collecting the art cards. I know not a lot of people are fans of them. They just think it's taking up space in the pack. But I like them. I've been trying to assemble I've been assembling full sets whenever I've gotten them, starting from when they first came out. Our art card is Selfless Glyph Mage. But I do eventually want to sort of display them. Our first uncommon is Go Blank. Second uncommon is Flunk. Third uncommon is Test of Talents. Fourth uncommon is Mentor's Guidance. Fifth uncommon is Explosive Welcome. And our rare is Wandering Archaic. So for 5 mana, get a creature avatar. It's a 4/4. Whenever you cast when an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell and may choose new targets for the copy. And we've got a Lawhold command as well. So for 3 red and a white, get an instant. Choose to create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Creatures you control get +1/+2 and gain Indestructible and Haste. Lawhold command deals 3 damage to any target. Target player gains 3 life. And sacrifice opponent, then draw 2 cards. And you get to choose 2 of any of those. And our mythical archive card is good old Doomblade. So for 1 and a black, get an instant. Destroy target non-black creature. And our foil is Rutha Mercurial Artist. That all the Prismari stuff I think looks really cool in the foil. And we have a treasure token right there. Alright, next up. So we've got a Vortex Runner as our art card, our land, and let's go through. First uncommon is Devouring Tendrils. Second uncommon is Fortifying Draft. Our rare is Uldvera, Dean of Perfection. So for 2 and a blue, you get a legendary creature Division Wizard. You can tap to exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand and put 3 home counters on it. Again, at the beginning of your upkeep, if this card is exiled, remove a home counter from it. And when the last counter is removed, if you can cast it, it costs 4 lists to cast this way. And on the back, it's Nasiri, Dean of Express. And so for 3 and 2 red, you get a 4/4. Legendary creature for each shaman. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until the end of turn, you may cast spells from among those exiled cards. You may spend mana your mana of any color to cast them. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, you can put a +1/+1 counter on a Nasiri, Dean of Expression. And we kind of saw it. Our Mythical Archive card is Demonic Tutor. So for 1 and a black, you get a sorcery. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. And we've got a foil resculpt. Oh, and we got a card from the list. So our list card is Trokian Highguard. So for 3 and a white, it's a vanilla 3/3. Sure. And so we'll put our foil and we'll put the list cards. Actually, we'll get rid of the tokens. You don't need to see the tokens. You like the list card. You guys like the list cards a lot better. Anyways, let's get the next one. Yeah, so that was a pretty good pack. I mean, a Demonic Tutor. I'm never gonna play it about DT. And, you know, Commander players always love a good DT. Alright, so our art card. Oh, it's Memory Lapse from the Archive. I love this artwork, actually. It's probably one of my favourite artworks from the Archive, personally. Got a land. Our commons here. Our first uncommon is Mage Hunter. Oh, we've got a rare. We've got Blex Vexing Pests. For 2 and a green, you get a legendary creature pest. It's a 3/2. Either pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders you control get +1/+1. When they die, when he dies, you gain 4 life. I'm surprised rats aren't on this list. Or it could be a good old sorcery. Search for Blex. So for 2 and a blue, 2 and 2 black. Sorry, it's a sorcery. With the top 5 cards of your library, when you put any number of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard, you lose 3 life for each card you put into your hand this way. Oh, and we've got a full art Kasmina Enigma stage. So for 1, a green and a blue, you get a legendary Planeswalker Kasmina. She has 2 loyalty. Each other Planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina, the Enigma Sage. +2 to scry 1, -X to create a green-blue fractal token, put X +1/+1 counters on it, and -8, search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this Planeswalker. Exile that card and shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. I don't know, we'll put it with the rares, I guess. Our Mythical Archive card is Negate. So for 1 and a blue, you get an instant, counter target non-creature spell. We got a foil Professor's Warning. Oh, and we've got one of the little mini games on here. I don't know if anyone ever plays them, but they seem like good little mini games to do with the pack if you've got one laying around. I never have packs laying around. Because I'm just a crack packing addict. Alright. So our art card is Stormkiln Artist. We've got our Mythic Rare Lesson. It's Mascot Exhibition. So for 7 mana, get a sorcery. Create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. A 3/2 red and white Spirit token. And a 4/4 green and blue Elemental token. So that's real cool. And we'll go through our commons. Our first uncommon is Plumb the Forbidden. So I won't read it. Second uncommon is Solve the Equation. Third uncommon is Decisive Denial. Our fourth uncommon is Zimmerman Quandrix Prodigy. And our rare is Elite Spellbinder. So for 2 and a blue, you get a creature human cleric. It's a 3/1 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you can look at a target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it for as long as that card remains exiled. Its owner may play it. A spell cast costs 2 more to cast. We've got a Thrill of Possibility as our Mythical Archive card. So for 1 and a red instant, as an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, you draw 2. Ooh, and we've got a foil Whirlwind Denial as well. So for 2 and a blue, you get an instant for each spell and ability your opponents control. Counter it unless the control pays 4. And we have a treasure token. Alright, next up. Our art card is Spectacle Mage, little owl friend. Got our land and our lesson. We'll go through these commons here. Looks like a whole heap of red, white. First uncommon is Honor Troll, one of my favourite names in this set. Second uncommon is Bookworm, another contender for that favourite name. Our third uncommon is Witherbloom Apprentice. And our rare is multiple choice. So for X and a blue, you get a sorcery. If X is 1, scry 1, then draw a card. If X is 2, you may choose a player. They return a creature they control to its owner's hand. If X is 3, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. If X is 4 or more, do all the above. And our mythical archive card is Defiant Strike. So for a single white, get an instant. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn and draw a card. Ooh, and we've actually got another foil mythical archive card in Sign in Blood. So for double black, you get a sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. I've had many a time when I've used Sign in Blood to kill my opponents. And treasure token right there. Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, my opponents, I'm safe at 2. Sign in Blood, targeted my opponent. So that's how we do things around here. So we've got our art card is Eureka Moment. And our lesson, and we'll keep going through our commons. First uncommon is Practical Research. And we've actually... Did we just go straight to the rare? Holy crap. Yeah, it looks like we did. Alright. So our rare is Dragon Guard Elite. For 1 green, you get a creature, human druid. It has Magecraft. It's a 2/2. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Dragon Guard Elite. For 4 and 2 green, double the number of +1/+1 counters on the Elite. And our mythical archive card is Cultivate. So for 2 and a green, you get a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands. Reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand and shuffle. And we've got a foil Tenured Inkcaster there. I've got a spirit token as well. Alright, next up. Alright, and our art card is Infuriate. That's a nice bit of artwork right there. And our land. So what Containment Breach is one of our uncommon lesson. First uncommon is Mortality Spear. Second uncommon is Overgrown Arch. Third uncommon is Igneous Inspiration. Our fourth uncommon is Rutha Mercurial Artist. Actually, third uncommon is Rutha. Fourth uncommon is Reflective Golem. Fifth uncommon is Killian. I think I've been counting these right. Ink Duelist. And our rare is Cody, the Voracious Codex. So for 3 mana, you get a legendary artifact creature construct. It's a 1/4. You can't cast permanent spells. And for 4 and tap, add white, blue, black, red, and green. When you cast your next spell this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile an instant or sorcery card with less of that mana value. Until the end of turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put each other card exiled this way on the bottom of your library in a random order. We got a God's Willing there as a mystical archive. So for 1 white, you get an instant. Target creature you control gains protection from the colour of your choice until end of turn. Scry 1. And we also have a foil Snakeskin Veil as well. So for a single green, you get an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. You control this turn, it gains hexproof. Oh, and we've actually got a card from the list. It's the Academy Elite. So for 3 and a blue, you get a creature, human wizard. It's actually from the first conspiracy set. So it's a 0/0. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of instants and sorceries in all graveyards. For 2 and a blue, remove a +1/+1 counter on it. You draw a card and then you discard a card. That's not a bad hit from the list. It's not the best, but it's definitely not a bad one. Alright, next up. Alright, so our art card is Clever Luminancer. Got a foil planes. Oh, we've got a rare lesson, so Teachings of the Archaics. For 2 and a blue, get a sorcery lesson. If an opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw 2. Draw 3 cards instead if an opponent has at least 4 more cards in hand than you do. Alright, we'll go through our commons and uncommons. commons here, I've got a Kelpie Guide. We have an Emergent Sequence. And our rare is Sedgemoor Witch. So for 2 and a black, get a creature, human warlock, it has Menace. It's a 3/2. It has the ability of Wards to pay 3 life. And it also has Magecraft. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Our Mythical Archive card is Gift of Estate. So for 1 and a white, you get a sorcery. If an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for up to 3 planes, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle. And we also have a foil Dagmoth Woe-Eater. So for 1... Sorry, we also have a foil Dagmoth Woe-Eater. I thought it was a rare for some reason. My apologies. And the junk. Alright, next. Okay, so our art card is Verdant Mastery right there. We have a land, and we've got our commons and uncommons here. First uncommon is Mascot Interception. Second uncommon is Umbral Duke. Third, we just jumped straight to the res now. It's Dramatic Finale. So for 4 Orzhov Hybrid, or Silverclaw Hybrid if you will, it's an enchantment. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures you control die, create a 2/1 black and white Inkling creature token with flying. This ability triggers only once each turn. Alright, and we've got Infuriate as our Mythical Archive card. And our foil is a Soothsayer Adept. Oh, and we've got another card from the list. It's Body Snatcher. So for 2 and a black, you get a 2/2 creature minion. When it comes into play, you may choose and discard a creature card from your hand if you don't remove Body Snatcher from the game. When Body Snatcher is put into a graveyard from play, remove Body Snatcher from the game and return target creature card from your graveyard to play. That's kind of interesting. I've never seen that card before. Was that Nemesis that card came from? Alright, next up. And our art card is... it's Blex! We've seen this guy before. Our land, and we've got our lesson, and let's just jump through our commons here. Got a Thunderous Orator as our first uncommon. Shadewing Laureate as our second uncommon. Our rare is Draconic Intervention, so for 2 and 2 red, you get a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. It deals X damage to each non-dragon creature, where X is the exiled card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile instead, and you exile the intervention. Our Mythical Archive card is Opt, so for a single blue, you get an instant, scry 1, draw a card. And our rare is Springmane Servant, and we've got another little game there. Alright, next. Alright, so our art card is Dragon's Guard Elite. Got a land. And we've got Containment Breach as one of our uncommons. Alright, so we have Zephyr Boots as another uncommon. Team Pennant as another uncommon. Stormkiln Artist, Spell Satchel, and we've got a Vine Glimmer Snail. So this is the blue-green land for the cycle. So when it enters as it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a forest or island. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, and it can tap for tad green or blue. We also have Grape Shot. So for 1 and a red, you get a sorcery. Grape Shot deals 1 damage to any target, and it has Storm. We have a Foily Combat Professor, and another game. Alright. Next up. Our art card is... it's a really cool forest. I think this is a Witherbloom forest, actually. Speaking of, we've got a normal forest. We'll go through our commons here. First uncommon is Quandrix Cultivator. Second uncommon is Quandrix Apprentice. Third uncommon is the Golden Ratio. And our rare is Sparring Regimen. So for 2 and a white, you get an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you learn. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature and untap it. We also have Divine Gambit as our Mythical Archive card. So for 2 white, get a sorcery, exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment. That player may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. And we've got a foil Spectacle Mage right there. And we've got a Fractal token. Alright, next up. Alright, so our art card is, it's strategic planning, sorry. Jeez, I just started. Got a swamp. And we'll go through our commons and uncommons right here. First uncommon is Humiliate. Second uncommon is Closing Statement. And our rare is Silver Quill Silencer. So for a black and a white, you get a 3/2 creature human cleric. As it enters the battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with the chosen name, they lose 3 life and you draw a card. Ooh, and we have Stone Rain as our mythical archive card. So for 2 and a blue, you get a sorcery, destroy target land. And our foil is an Elemental Masterpiece. Got a fractal token there. Alright, next up. Okay, so our art card is... Oh, it's Inquisition of Kozilek. That's a real cool one. Got a land. Go through our commons and uncommons. So first uncommon is Creative Outburst. Second uncommon is Prismari Apprentice. Oh, and we've got a rare. We've got Valentin, Dean of the Vein. So for a single black, a legendary creature vampire warlock. It's a 1/1 with menace and lifelink. If a non-token creature and an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. When you do, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Or it can be Lisette, Dean of the Root. So for 2 and 2 green, you get a legendary creature human druid. It's a 4/4. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and those creatures gain trample until end of turn. We've also got a Venerable Warsinger. So for 1, a red and a white, you get a creature Spirit Cleric. It's a 3/3 with vigilance and trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of damage the Warsinger dealt to that player. Our mythical archive card is Agonizing Remorse. So for 1 and a black, you get a sorcery. Choose target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it or a card from their graveyard. Exile that card and you lose 1 life. And our foil is Solve the Equation. And we've got a pest token right there too. Alright, next up. Alright, so our art card is, it's Sign in Blood. That's a cool one. So land. We've got Mercurial Transformation as one of our uncommons. First uncommon is Aether Helix. Oh, we've got a Vernaculous Warhold. So for 5, a red and a white, you get a legendary creature, Elder Dragon. It's a 5/5 with flying, vigilance, and haste. When it attacks you, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Vernaculous Warhold's power from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. We've also got a Retriever Phoenix. So for 3 and a red, you get a creature Phoenix. It's a 2/2 with flying and haste. When it enters the battlefield, if you can cast it, you learn. As long as Retriever Phoenix is in your graveyard, if you would learn, you may put the Retriever Phoenix onto the battlefield instead. Ooh, and we also have a Time Warp. So for 3 and 2 blue, you get a sorcery. Target player takes an extra turn after this one. We've also got a Sudden Breakthrough as our foil. Oh, we got another card from the list. It's good old Wayfarers Bauble. So for 1 mana, get an artifact. 2 and tap, sacrifice the bauble, search your library for a basic land and put into play tapped, and then shuffle your library. That's actually a pretty decent amount of hits, actually, for Nicola. For the list cards, actually. Alright, so our next art card is Silver Quill Command. Got our land, and we'll go through all of these. First uncommon is Divide by 0. Second uncommon is Master Symmetrist. Oh, we've got a Shadrick Silver Quill. So for 3, a white and a black, you get a legendary creature, Elder Dragon. It's a 2/5 with flying and double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token. Target player draws a card and loses a life. Or target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. We've also got a Witherbloom Command. So for a black and a green, you get a sorcery. Choose 2. Target player mills 3 cards, then you return a land from your graveyard to your hand. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Target creature gets -3/-1 until end of turn, and target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. We have Strategic Planning as our Mythical Archive card. So for 1 and a blue, you get a sorcery. With the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. We've also got a foil go blank right there. And another little game. Next up. Alright, so art card is Awaken the Blood Avatar. Nice. So we've got a foil swamp there. And we'll go through all of our commons. Oh, our first uncommon is Tenured Inkcaster. Second uncommon is a Carrick Wrangler. Third uncommon is a Dueling Coach. Our rare is Pestilent Cauldron. So for 2 and a black in artifact, tap to discard a card to create a 1/1 black and green pest token. When this creature dies, you gain a life. 1 untap, each opponent mills cards equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. And for 4 untap, exile 4 cards from a single graveyard, draw a card. We've also got Strict Proctor, so for 1 and a white, you get a 1/3 creature Spirit Cleric with flying. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. We've also got a Brainstorm as our Mythical Archive card. So for a single blue, you get an instant. Draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Also have a foil Dueling Coach. Oh, and a Latchkey Fairy, so it's another one from the list. So 3 and a blue creature, Fairy Rogue. It's a 3/1 flying. It has Prowl, so of 2 and a blue. When it enters when it comes into play, if its Prowl cost is paid, draw a card. It's a nice little throwback to Lorwyn there. And I think pretty good in Pauper. So I don't think it's the worst. You're playing like some sort of tempo-y flyers build. Alright, so our art card is... Oh, it's Brainstorm. Nice. Got a land. And we'll go through these. First uncommon is Symmetry Sage. Second uncommon is Wormhole Serpent. Third uncommon is Academic Dispute. And our rare is the Shine Shadow Snarl. So it's the black-white land of the set. We've got Duress, so a single black, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-creature non-land card from it, that player discards that card. And we've got a foil Conspiracy Theorist as well, which we've already talked about before, but hey, it's a foil one. Oh, we've got a Llanowar Reborn as well, so it enters when it enters battlefield, and it enters battlefield tap to add green, and you can graft. So that's from the Izzet versus Golgari duel deck, if I recognise that symbol correctly. Alright, next up. Alright, so our art card is Valoran, Dean of the Vein. We've got a land, and we'll skip through these relatively quickly. First uncommon is Snow Day. We've got a rare here, it's Null Professor, so for 2 and 2 green, get a creature, tree for druid with trample. When enters the battlefield, you learn, and it's a 5/4. We have a Snakeskin Veil, so for, I believe we already read it, but I won't read it again. And our foil is Decisive Denial. And we've got a Fractal. Alright, next up. Okay, so we have good old Bookworm as our art card for Mountain. And we'll skip through these again. First uncommon is Eye Twitch. We've got a Archmage Emeritus, so for 2 and 2 blue, you get a creature, human wizard. It has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. We've got good old Lightning Helix. So for a red and a white, you get an instant. It deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life. And we have a foil Witherbloom Campus right here as well. Another little game. Alright, next. Alright, so our art card is... Oh, it's Harness Infinity. I like that Seth McKinnon artwork. Alright, let's jump through these. Oh, okay, we've already got the uncommons. So we've got a Maelstrom Muse, Expressive Iteration, Grinning Ignis, Rip Apart, Secret Rendezvous, and our rare is Hall of Oracles. So it's a land, taps to add colours, can pay 1 and tap to add 1 mana of any colour, and you can tap to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. We have Shock as our mythical archive card, so for a single red instant, Shock deals 2 damage to any target, and we have a foil fractal summoning right there, and an inkling token. Alright, next pack. Alright, so our art card is... Oh, Dragon Guard Elite. This is the buy box artwork, though. We've got Necrotic Fumes as one of our uncommons. Detention Vortex. Horn Monitor. We've got Shalael, Dean of Radiance. So for a 1 and a white, get a legendary creature, Bird Cleric. It has flying and vigilance. Tap to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. Or it could be Embrose, Dean of Shadow. So for 2 and 2 black, you get a legendary creature, Human Warlock. Tap to put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature. Then Embrose, Dean of Shadow deals 2 damage to that creature. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, draw a card. We also have Dreamstrix. So for 2 and a blue, you get a creature, Bird Illusions, to 3/2. And it becomes a target of a spell. You sacrifice it, and when it dies, you learn. And we have Eliminate as our archive card. So for 1 and a black in instant, destroy a target creature that will planeswalk with mana value 3 or less. And we have a foil Containment Breach there, and an elemental. Alright, next up. Our art card is, it's Crackle with Power. Got a land, and we'll go through our commons and uncommons relatively quick. Got Access Tunnel as our first uncommon. We've got an actual Crackle with Power in the pack. I mean, nice when the art cards match. So for triple X and 2 red, you get a sorcery. It deals 5 times X damage to each of up to X targets. Our mythical archive card is Revitalize. So for 1 and a white, it's an instant. You gain 3 life and you draw a card. We have Charge Through as our foil. Alright, next up. Alright, so our art card is, it's Ephemerate from the archive list. Start from Scratch is one of our uncommons. First another uncommon is Dagmoth Woe Eater. Our rare is Leonin Light Scribe. So for 1 and a white, you get a creature, Cat Cleric. It is a 2/2 with Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. We also have a Tezzeret's Gambit. So for 3 and a Phyrexian blue mana, draw 2 cards, then proliferate. Phyrexian mana can also be paid with 2 life. Oops, that's our archive. And we've got a foil Exhilarating Elocution. Oh, and what an Aven Rift Watcher as from the list. So for 2 and a white, get a creature, Bird Rebel Soldier, has flying and has vanishing 3. When it comes into play or leaves play, you gain 2 life. Nice and simples. Alright, next up. Alright, so our art card is the Poet, the Arrogant Poet. Oh, we've got a rare lesson here. So Confront the Past, X and a black for a sorcery lesson. Choose 1, return target Planeswalker card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, or remove twice X loyalty counters from target Planeswalker and opponent controls. Alright, we'll jump through our commons here. First uncommon is Tend the Pests. We've got an Augmenter Pugilist. So for 1 and 2 green, you get a creature, Troll Druid. It's a 3/3 trample. As long as you have 8 or more lands, Augmenter Pugilist gets +5/+5. Otherwise, it can be Echoing Equation. So for 3 and 2 blue, you get a sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it until the end of turn, except those creatures aren't legendary if the chosen creature is legendary. We also have a Quandrix Command. So for 1, a green and a blue, you get an instant. Choose 2, return target creature or planeswalker card to its owner's hand. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from their graveyard into their library. We have Faithless Looting as one of our archive cards. So for a single red, you get a sorcery. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards, and you can flash it back for 2 and a red. Oh, we've got a foil Abundant Harvest from the Mythical Archive as well. So for a single green, you get a sorcery. Choose land or non-land. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card of the chosen kind. Put that card into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And we have another little game card there as well. Next up. Alright, so art card is Torrent Sculptor. Got a land. We've got a Necrotic Fumes as one of our uncommons. Another uncommon is Show of Confidence. Second uncommon is Silvercool Apprentice. And we've got a Manifestation Sage. So for 3 Simic or Quandrix mana, you get a 2/2 creature human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X+1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your hand. We have a Claim the Firstborn as a Mythical Archive card. So for a single red, gain control of target creature with mana value 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste. And we have a foil Campus Guide. And a Pest. Alright. Next up. Alright, so we've got a Magma Opus as our art card. And we'll jump through these relatively quick. These are all of our commons. First uncommon is a Fracture. Oh, we've got a Necro Blossom Snarl there. So it's the green-black land from the cycle. Our Mythical Archive card is Village Rites. Single black as additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. And we have a Pilgrim of the Ages as our foil. Oh, and we've got a Stonybrook Schoolmaster, another card from the list. So for 2 and a white, you get a creature Merfolk Wizard. It's a 1/2. When it becomes tapped, you may put a +1/+1 blue Merfolk creature wizard token into play. Huh. I've never really played like Lorwyn blocks, so it's kind of cool seeing some of these older cards that I've never seen before. Anyways, guys, this is our last pack right here. Let's hope that it's something very spicy to end it on. So we have, it's a signed Time Warp art card there. That's a real nice one. Got an island. We'll quickly jump through all of these. First uncommon is a Clever Luminancer. Second uncommon is Professor of Symbology. We've got a Mythic, it's Blot Out the Sky, so for X, a white and a black, you get a sorcery, create X tapped 2/1 black and white Inkling creature tokens with flying. If X is 6 or more, destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents. And we've got a Dark Ritual as our Mythical Archive card, so for a single black, it's an instant, add 3 black. And we will got a foil Return Pass Caller here as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. It lets people know that we exist and we are creating content. You can follow me on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. The links will both be down below. And just before we get going, guys, there's one more thing. I've got one more pre-release code to share with you guys. So there is the code right there for anyone who wants to take it, if you haven't already done so. Or if you know someone who wants it, you're more than welcome to give it to them. The code is Alpha 9401 for Foxtrot 637 Delta Echo Bravo Charlie 5 Foxtrot 399 Foxtrot Beta 96D Delta 2. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.